Why, hello, it is Rude One Ho, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you're not new here. I hope you're all doing well and having an extra pleasant day today. As you all probably are aware, I've been a stan for quite a bit of time, and I figured, considering my knowledge and years of being a stan, maybe it was about time for me to share some information with some newer fans or newer stans who need some advice on things that they should know in terms of when it comes to becoming a stan or being a K-pop fan in general, or just the music industry behind K-pop. Obviously, this is all from my personal perspective as a longtime fan since 2016, which I consider quite a long time. But basically, I will be going over 5 things today that I wish I knew when I started liking K-pop, and I think you guys should know for the newbie fans out there. Obviously, there's no shame in not knowing any of these right away. Obviously, that's why I'm telling people about them. But these are definitely things I wish I personally knew when I started, because if I did know this, it would have made life a lot easier for me. So I hope that in sharing these with you today, some of you might find it easier to be one with fans in the genre. So I don't want to hold you up any longer. So without any dilly-dallying around, we shall now dalla our way into the 5 things that I wish I knew when I started liking K-pop that I think you should know if you are starting to like K-pop. Let's get it. Number 1 is, did I even say number correctly? It sounded like I said number. Number 1 is that you do not need to share the same opinion as your main fandom or as the fandoms you are in. By this, I'm referring to the opinion you have on basically anything, whether a song is good, whether an era is your favorite, the styling is your favorite, obviously anything within respectful boundaries, but if you share a different opinion than what is the majority of your fandom, there is literally nothing wrong with that. I've seen a lot of K-pop stans, hold themselves to this standard that they have to like everything that their faves release, or they're not a real fan. If you don't like this song, you're not a real fan. If you don't like this comeback, you're not a real fan. If you don't like this era, you're not a real fan. Like, there's no guidebook out there that says what can and not make you a real fan. Last time I checked, what makes me a fan is if I like the group and their music, but maybe I'm wrong. No, I'm not. I'm correct. It is okay to not like something your favorite group does or releases. That is okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a worse of a fan, and people need to stop trying to convince new fans that if they don't like a certain song by a group, then they're not a real fan, because that's utter garbage. Like, you're allowed to like the song you want. Like, I'll admit it, I really do not like most of BTS's more recent albums. But I'm an ARMY. I'm a huge ARMY. My email is literally has the word ARMY in it in reference to BTS. I have a BTS tattoo on my arm. That's how much I love BTS. Like, I've loved them for years. But just because I don't like their new releases, some people will write me off as a hater, which is so dumb. People can like what they want. And it doesn't make you less of a fan if you don't like something that your favorite group does or releases. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion, and fandoms should stop trying to convince new fans that they're not allowed to have an opinion. Even older fans get told this a lot. What I'm trying to get at is, moral of the story, you're allowed to not like everything that your fave puts out, and you're allowed to think a song isn't good. That's fine, and it doesn't make you any less of a fan, and people who try to convince you otherwise are the worst. So basically, I took a couple days off, just to think about what I wanted to say here, and so if my voice sounds a little bit different, it's just because I took a couple days off, so I have a different tone today. Autistic things, I guess. But what I wanted to say was, number 2 is simply, you do not need to buy merchandise or albums to be a better fan. I don't necessarily see it as commonly anymore, at least not from what I've witnessed, but there used to be a pretty popular opinion in like 2016, I think, around when I first got into K-pop, that you had to buy albums or merchandise to be considered a real fan, which, in my opinion, is absolutely idiotic. I think the only thing that makes you a fan is if you're a fan of the group and the members. That makes you a fan, not how much merchandise you can buy. I just realized how scuffed the audio is in some other sections, but I'm really tired and I do not want to fix that, so I hope that you can put up with it throughout this video. I'm sure the rest of this video will be fine in terms of audio, but what I wanted to say, either way, was it was quite common for people to be like, oh, well, you're not a real fan if you don't own X amount of albums or if you don't support the group financially. And hi, newsflash to those people if they still exist. I'm sure most of them have changed. Please stop driving by cars. I am recording. But people have probably changed up until this point. But I feel like people who still think like that don't realize that not everyone can afford albums. Here in Canada, albums are straight up like $50 in stores, and I don't even want to get started on buying them online with the shipping. It's around the same price, or even expensive-er, that's not a word, more expensive than it is to get them in person, and just literally not everyone can afford that, okay? Like, not everyone can afford it, and that's how it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, some people just don't want to buy albums, and that's also fine. Some people just don't want to buy merch or buy albums, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to want to do that. Some people just don't want to do that, and that's fine, and people should stop acting like it's the worst thing in the world when people don't want to buy albums. But I used to see this more often, like I said, in the past. I don't see it as much now, but I would have liked to know that before I became a K-pop stan, because I kind of felt peer pressured into purchasing albums when I don't think I had nearly any amount of money to afford it. I was literally like 11 years old. There ain't no way in hell that I would have been affording that. So, yeah. Wish I would have known this beforehand. Number 3 is super hyper personal, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm still not over X1. Number 3 is quite literally, do not trust Mnet for literally anything, like anything at all. I swear, I am Mnet's worst enemy. I will personally go to their office and eat their CEO's toenails in a stew. This is not a threat, YouTube. Please don't ban me, please. I used to be one of those poor, unfortunate souls who believed in Mnet's ability to create a non-rigged show, i.e. I watched Produce 101. Yep, cue that one TXT song, the one that goes, I know what the title is, guys. I'm just having a bit, okay? Let me have fun with my videos. Thanks. Anyways, yeah, I was a little bit goofy in the past and thought it was a normal thing to trust Mnet, which it isn't. Newsflash, they have always manipulated every show they've ever done, literally ever, when it comes to survival shows. But they just do it in different ways now that they got caught and lost millions of dollars. Who would have known? Oh my god. A company whose corporate only cares about money and not the talent of trainees and all the hardships they've went through to be where they are now? Oh my god. Why am I so shocked? Guys, just know I'm hamming it up a little, but that's how I genuinely felt when, you know, that whole thing came out and it resulted in X1's disbandment. Yeah, frick Mnet. I don't trust them, and you shouldn't either. And I wish I would have known that when I was a beginner stan, because then maybe I wouldn't have stanned literally every single Mnet group under the fucking sun. Excuse my language. This is a channel made by an adult person, and I can swear occasionally if I want to, though I try not to do that. I try to be responsible here, but sometimes I get a little heated. Anyways, don't trust Mnet. Don't be a fool. Don't be me. This video is getting slightly longer than I would have liked it to, so I'm gonna try and make it fast. Number 4 is quite literally just kind of 2 opinions in one, like 2 things I wish I would have known in one, but it's standing underrated groups doesn't make you better than other people, and standing, air quotes, overrated or overly popular groups does not make you worse than other stans. Now, I'm lucky enough to never have had the phase where I thought I was better than people for standing underrated artists, which personally is a phase I'm very glad I skipped. Maybe for a future video I can talk about K-pop phases I'm glad I skipped. I have a lot of them. I did a lot of good when I started getting into K-pop and skipped a lot of really bad phases to have. Either way, besides the point, there was like this time where like I was surrounded by people who on KTube were kind of like really toxic. Like I wasn't friends with them or anything. It's just that I surrounded myself and the content I watched with these like KTubers, of course, not calling anyone out in specific. I don't want to lose my, I was going to say job, but YouTube isn't my job. So but like there are some KTubers at the time, I don't even know if they're still active, who made their whole personality disliking popular groups. I'm not sure if you guys can infer who I'm referring to. But maybe take your own guesses. Again, I don't want to start drama with anyone. I'm sure these people have changed because I got into KTube a very, very long time ago. But yeah, I obviously love a lot of groups that could be considered really underrated, or like, I don't know. I don't know if underrated is the right term for some of them, but definitely underappreciated for some of the groups. But if I had to go with straight up underrated, I mean, Donkiz is one of my alts, and who the hell has heard of Donkiz? Now DKZ, they changed their name. That's not a good sign. I don't like it when groups rebrand. That's very scary. But I also stand some groups that, like, there's a fly on my hand that literally everyone stands. Like, name a person into K-pop who at least isn't a stan or a big fan of Red Velvet. Name a single person. I have never met a single K-pop stan who at least does not appreciate Red Velvet. They don't even have to be a stan or a fan of them. Every K-pop stan I've ever encountered has at least appreciated one Red Velvet song. It's usually Bad Boy. It's always Bad Boy. But because of like the people that I constantly watched all the time, which I no longer watch these KTubers, good for me, because I did not need that toxic energy in my life. Would always be like, if you like this group, you're basic, or if this group is boring and people who like them just don't know what good music is, which good music is subjective, like completely and totally. There can be technically good songs or visually good songs, but good music, I'm doing air quotes, is so subjective that basically I just wish I would have known as a beginner K-pop stan that it was okay for me to not be always interested in what people think are good groups, or heck, be able to stan the groups I want to without feeling guilty because I just don't have good taste in music like some people would try to convince me I don't. Which, something about that is really satisfying to me. So I wish I would have known that when I was, you know, a little baby. The fifth and final thing I wish I would have known before becoming a K-pop stan is being a multi-stan is so much more fun than only standing one group. Oh my god. Like, I was missing out. I was missing out so bad and so hard. See, my situation is particularly odd because I started off as a multi-stan, but then transitioned to only liking one group because I was essentially peer pressured by armies, thanks guys, into only being an army, or else I wasn't a real stan. So for like a good couple months, like maybe 5-6 months, when I started getting into K-pop, the only music I listened to was BTS. Because I was so convinced that I had to be a single group stan that I had no choice. Like, if not, I was just betraying my faves, which is so incorrect. Who let me think that? Who let me get on that mindset? Either way, it was a really toxic mindset to have, and I kind of just wish that I didn't think like that and I wasn't peer pressured into that in the beginning, because it certainly hindered my experience on enjoying the K-pop community to its whole and the music to its whole, since I was only listening to BTS, which, nothing against BTS. I'm literally still an army. Like, I love BTS with my entire heart. This is a fandom thing. I'm talking about armies, not BTS, okay? I only talk about them in association with armies right now, so do not come for me, okay? Like, I love BTS. Leave me alone. But the point here is that, yeah, I was missing out on a lot when I was a singular group stan, and I get that now. I have seen the vision. I have seen the light. I am a changed, I was gonna say woman, but I'm non-binary, so I'm a changed person. Yippee! And with that, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. It was really fun for me to make, and this is probably the longest I've spent recording a video, so cool on me for actually putting in some effort for once. That's a lie. I put in effort in all my videos. It takes me forever to make them. But I hope you guys did enjoy this to some degree. What are the things that you wish you would have known before you were a K-pop stan? Feel free to give me any embarrassing confessions in the comments as well. I'm always down to see what you guys have to write to me. I love you all so much. Thank you so much, because without you guys, I would be nowhere. Thank you for everything. I don't even know what else to say. I'm really grateful. I randomly got like 100 views on my last video, which like shocked me, guys. I'm like the tiniest K-tuber on planet Earth. So for me, that's like getting 1 million views. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, week, night, whatever you're doing. Keep standing. You are iconic. Love you.